guys, what's going on? This is your old pal CHH, and we have a super interesting movie to talk about today. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you know that horror is a big part of my life, but it's not everything. There's a ton of other movies I'm into, specifically movies from the 80s and 90s. And one of the films that I've really become a huge fan of, because of a guy I've watched for many years, Pizzo, was Death Wish. Death Wish was a movie that really made me say, wow, movies could really say something, even in genres like this, that kind of push the envelope. And then, of course, there's the Death Wish sequels. We all know how crazy Death Wish 2 and 3 is. More entertaining than maybe anything you've ever seen, mind you. Even say that Death Wish 2 may be one of the most insanely entertaining action films of all time. And if you're a horror fan, you'll see more blood and guts in a Death Wish sequel than you will in a number of slasher films. So that just goes to show you how versatile, in a sense, the action genre can be. So there's this movie that got announced from Arrow Video, and I had always heard about this film, and I was really interested in seeing it. Now, the title is great. The name of the movie is Miss 45. Now, you can probably get a good sense of what this movie is going to be about by the title. I could come on here and say this is the female version of Death Wish, and that's kind of true, and it's kind of not true. There's different elements going on in Miss 45. We've got this girl named Hanna. Now, she's a sweet, lovely young woman who's actually a mute. She's not able to talk, and she has possibly one of the worst days in American history. Now, this poor girl, she has a decent job. She works in fashion. She does a lot of, sewing and seamstress stuff, and, one day, she's on her way home from work, and unfortunately, in the heat of the big city, she gets cornered, and horrible things happen to this poor woman. Something that absolutely happens in real life, probably way more than I'd even like to know. You think that's bad enough? At her house, someone has broken into her apartment trying to rob her. So when she gets home after this horrific scene of what she just went through, now she's got to deal with this. What does it say, too? It's kind of sad that when I watched this, I said to myself, oh, I could definitely see this happening. I mean, I really could. As a matter of fact, I think this movie was loosely based off of a horrific crime story that happened in New York in the early 80s, where a woman got you-know-what, and then she tried to get help, and when she tried to get help, she got, again. All that to say, she somehow manages to survive what happens when she gets home because she uses her smarts to be able to wait for the perfect opportunity to take this guy out. So she whacks him over the head, gets a gun, and does what she has to do, blow the bastard away. This clearly is going to traumatize poor Hanna, but listen, she had to do what she had to do, but it awakens something inside of her. She's sick of being a victim. She's not going to be a victim. She's going to raise hell and take care of business. Pretty much kind of like Charles Bronson did in Death Wish. So it feels like a female Death Wish. Obviously, there's different elements at play here. I mean, this one is the I Spit on Your Grave Death Wish film in a sense. And Miss 45 is one of the most intense movies I've seen in a very, very long time. I like the psychological aspect that the movie takes from this point. It could just be a blow-em-away type film, but throughout the film, you see the mental anguish that Hanna goes through. Definitely some great visual moments in Miss 45. I don't know if this is something that can be like a healthy outlet or not, but there's something satisfactory about watching somebody just get revenge, and get revenge to the fullest extent. Maybe that's why I like the Death Wish films so much too, because Charles Bronson takes out really bad guys. Miss 45 does the same, but there's some more psychological elements to this one that makes it different and just as unique. Guys, this is the new Arrow Video 4K release, and this is a chunky box release at that, which I know everybody likes their chunky box releases. One of the things I've noticed with Arrow that I think has now become a standard is they're actually doing slipcovers on their chunky box releases now, and they go around them. Now, the Miss 45 hardshell case has a kind of a more flat matte look, whereas this one's more bright red. You can actually see the difference in color tones. This one's almost a little bit more pink, while this one's really more of a harsh red. I don't know why that's that case, why they kind of, adjust the colors for some reason. Maybe it's to make this be cheaper to print on this material. If the colors aren't as harsh and bright, it is what it is. Back of this, you'll see the rosary and the bullets, which is a really cool look. All right, guys, let's take this out and talk about it. With Miss 45, you're going to get this really cool poster. And let's see what the original artwork looks like, because I actually haven't reversed it in the case yet. Oh, that's a great poster. Look at that. That is money. It will never happen again. Miss 45. Great movie. This would be a great, like, triple feature with the stylistic look of a movie like The Warriors and, you know, with, like, Death Wish. And I'd say the first Death Wish, not Death Wish 2, because this one has the sensibility of, like, the first Death Wish movie, not the sequel so much. This really great booklet of Miss 45. Check that out, guys. And you know how these work. I really, really love the booklets. And this one, what I like about this one, the words are a little bit bigger on here, so they're easier to kind of read and enjoy. Sorry, I think the whites are too bright on that. But really nice book. A lot to go into with this one. And I love the actress that played Hanna. She was great. And the smell is very, very strong with that. Here's our case. Now, obviously, you can reverse this with the artwork. Why don't we do that? Let's go ahead and reverse the art. There we go. There's that gorgeous Miss 45 art. Look at that, guys. Miss 45. Now, let me talk to you guys about the picture quality really quick. Here's what I'm going to say about the picture quality. This was one of my favorite 4Ks so far this year. I really loved it. This movie looked absolutely phenomenal. And I have zero reference point, by the way. I don't have a Blu-ray or a DVD. This is the first time I've ever owned Miss 45. Film grain all throughout it, and it just looked great. This whole movie was shot, looked like in the big city, outside for a lot of it. There's no harsh or dark scenes. This movie doesn't do anything where it's like mood lighting to make stuff just blatantly dark. The only thing that's moody lighting is like the Halloween party at the end, which also makes this kind of a fun Halloween release, considering, you know, there's a big Halloween party in this. But this film looked great. The outdoor sequences in what's supposed to be Manhattan just look stellar, just absolutely stellar. This was a sensational 4K. One of my favorites this year. It's that perfect look. It's got that gorgeous, you know, almost like a Larry Cohen big city look where it's really grainy, but not overly grainy, but just you see that beautiful film grain, and the film is so sharp. Loved it. I love the picture quality. I'm going to give it this a 9.5 out of 10 on the picture quality. Really happy with that. In terms of the audio, it was really good. It was an old mono track, but it was like a lossless mono track. I think this is what it said. Original lossless mono audio, presented in Dolby Vision and HDR10 compatible. So the audio is great, but it's one of those things where it's not going to be like those. You're not going to get that Dolby Audio 7.1 or 5.0 mixes, you know. So the audio is good, but it's not. I don't think this is a release where, you know, the audio is going to be the thing where people are like, oh, I can't wait to hear that movie in Dolby. So it is what it is. So I don't know if that's just the way that this movie was mixed originally and the way it came out, but yeah, original lossless mono. Now, there were a lot of features on this. I think some of the stuff was from previous Blu-ray releases possibly, but there are new things on here. We'll take a look at the back and read about that. A new commentary by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, author of Rape Revenge Films, a critical study of cultographies. Miss 45, The Voice of Violence, a new featurette with film critic B.J. Colegno. Where Dreams Go to Die, a new featurette with film critic Kate Ellinger. Archival interview with the director Abel. Archival interview with the composer Joe Delia. Archive interview with creative consultant Jack McIntyre. Zoe XO, a 2004 short film directed by Paul Rockman. I have not watched that. Zoe Rising, a 2011 short film directed by Paul Rockman. Theatrical trailer, image gallery, reversible sleeve, and the booklet. So, yeah, it's one of those things where they ported over previous releases, previous special features, probably from another release. I don't know if it was Arrow. I don't know. I don't own this film besides this release. But, you know, they're doing that thing with the, you know, and good for them. I mean, I did listen to some of the first one, the Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, you know, it's like a blog about the film, but you're hearing the person read it. It's like, they're done very well, and I could tell it's written very well, but it's just, you're watching movie clips while somebody's talking about the film, and they're not really talking to you, the audience member. It feels like they're reading their article about the film. So it's not my favorite kind of stuff, but, you know, they are putting new stuff on there, which is good. You know, it's good that they're putting forth that effort still, you know, and I like it even, like when Scream Factory, even if they can just get the, you know, the second director for a film, Like, at least like when they do that, I appreciate it. So, you know, the directors with the interview with the director from the previous release, whatever that was great. He got into everything about the film from inception to making of, casting, all that. So you get everything you probably need from this release. But the picture quality on this is the home run. This movie looked phenomenal. Again, I don't have a reference point. There may be Blu-rays that probably look good, but I don't know if it was a Blu-ray that was restored from a negative as well, or from a 2K or 4K restoration. But this 4K restoration release of Miss 45 is fantastic. Definitely a movie I'm going to revisit, and I really enjoyed it, guys. So, yeah, I definitely suggest checking out Miss 45 above anything else. I think it's a really, really, really good film. So thank you guys for watching this video. This is your old pal CHH. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.